we're gonna talk about LGBTQ plus issues. That's right. That's right, Twitter, start your engines. Now, as some of you may know, about a year ago, I came out as bisexual. I tweeted out, female, colored, bisexual. Throughout my life, these have proven to be obstacles from time to time, but now I'm fully embracing them as my superpowers. No matter how many boxes you check, I encourage you to do the same. And I really do. I encourage you to do the same. Here's the thing. Coming out was truly one of the scariest things I've ever done. And I chose to come out online, which is a great way to let people know something, especially if you want to instantly know exactly how they feel about you. But as scared as I was, I quickly realized that for every negative comment I received, I'd get 100 that were super supportive. And I was now part of this loving community that was ready to step up, support me, and fight the trolls. Yeah. It was literally the exact same plot as Harry Potter. It's just too bad this didn't happen.
You're a bisexual, Lily.
Would have made things a lot less confusing. Now, ironically, when you have sex with women, though, you don't have to worry about Hogwarts. And coming out wasn't even a full year ago. I mean, this is all new to me. I'm still on my learner's permit. Which is great, because learning's more fun when someone else is in the car with me. And you know what I mean? But let's be real. Before I even came out, there were already people in my community who just didn't understand LGBTQ plus issues. I mean, straight up, they thought a pansexual is someone who gets horny in the kitchen section of Target. And to be fair, I'm not even sure what to call my new community. I'm confused too. Some people use LGBT+, some use LGBTQ, some use LGBTQIA, or LGBTQQIAA. I mean, sexuality has more flavors than Baskin-Robbins. And I'm still getting used to being out in public with another woman. I mean, I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, okay, everyone is staring at me. And then I'll be relieved when I remember, oh, right, I'm famous. Now, sexuality is a spectrum, and now that my place on the spectrum has shifted, I realize how many little parts of straight privilege I took for granted. Seriously, like there are basically 0 rom-coms that reflect how I feel. I want to watch When Harry Met Sally, and Sally met Priya, and Priya met Rico, and Rico met Frank. That's what I want to watch, okay? And how about music? Queer people rarely get love songs. And when they do, they're completely misunderstood. Remember when Frank Ocean first came out? People tried to label him as a gay rapper. First of all, he's bi, not gay. And he's so hot, he's also the reason I know I'm bi, not gay. Not to mention, coming to terms with being queer and being Indian, there's a lot of homophobia in the Indian community. In fact, when I came out, people told me that I'd lose all of my popularity, all of my fans, and all of my business in India. But then, I didn't. Turns out in a place with 1.3 billion people, a lot of them don't give an F about who I give an F. And homosexual sex was just decriminalized in India, but there are plenty of places in the world where it's still a crime to be gay. It makes planning a vacation much different. Like, oh, okay, thriving food scene, beautiful scenery. Oh, and it says here we'll go to jail for existing. Okay. It's rough out here on these streets, fam. And you can't even have this conversation without talking about how LGBTQ plus people are disproportionately victims of violent crimes, especially if they're people of color, which is a topic for an entire monologue by someone who is far more qualified than me. But I do know that if you want to support the community, you should check out organizations like the Trevor Project. Just go to thetrevorproject.org. And if you enjoyed Love, Simon, you have to go to the site right now. Right now. Since I started this show, I've had a lot of people online say things like, why does she talk so much about being a bisexual woman of color? First of all, I talk about my dog and The Rock way more, so get your facts straight, okay? Facts. And second, no one else on late night can talk about it. So why wouldn't I use this opportunity to start a discussion? I mean, everybody talks about themselves. The majority of rap songs are about having heterosexual sex. At this point, I know more about Kim and Kanye's sex life than I'm comfortable with. Yet no one calls out rappers for talking about who they are. Listen, you don't get to be the majority and tell me how many times I can celebrate who I am. If you have a problem with me talking about being bi or a woman of color, that's fine. You're 100% entitled to your own opinion. And you can talk all about it on your TV show. Oh, wait, you don't have one.
So do you guys want to look at a dessert menu?
Yeah, definitely.
Me too, but
I just have to
pee
run to the
first.
washroom.
Okay, so I'll just leave this right here and come back forward shortly.
Okay. I will see you back here in 2 minutes.
Can't wait.
Okay.
Oh, you again.
Hi.
After you.
Oh, no, please.
Go for it.
After you.
Come on.
I think.
I'll tell you what, come, get in there. Get in there, okay. Get it, okay.
I'm
After
going.
you. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. So, do you have any
You have such pretty eyes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
What?
Oh, about my eyes.
Oh, right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just give me a second. Just gonna see.
Okay, so did we decide on a dessert?
Yes, we will take the lemon curd. How is it that you end up in Salt Lake City, Utah?
Don't laugh. Have any of you been to Salt Lake City? Have you been? It's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
Why wouldn't I end up there? So here's the thing. I used to vacation in America regularly. I used to go to New York. I lived in New York for a while, and my housemate was from Salt Lake City. And he was like, come check it out. It's gorgeous. I was like, yeah, fine. And so I went, and within the first hour, no joke, Lily, I was like, this is my home, like forever.
Really?
Let me tell you why. I'd never met, don't be offended, brace yourselves. I'd never met white men that didn't drink. And then I went to Utah and they were full of Mormons who didn't drink. I was like, there are hot white men that don't drink all the time? Like, this is where I'm gonna find my husband. And I'm Muslim, so I don't drink. I'm like, oh my God, I finally found hot white dudes who don't drink. And so I started vacationing there every 3 months, and finally I found this hot white dude and he wanted to marry me. And I was like, I'll marry you too. And so I've been there for 11 years.
So we have to talk about your character, Detective Rosa Diaz, because Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you're going on to your 7th season. But your character had a pretty big moment in the 99th episode. Tell us about it.
Yeah, our creator, Dan Gore, is a really just wonderful human. And he had sort of been toying with this idea for a while, like maybe Rosa is part of the queer community. And it ended up being one of the things that I've heard, especially kids and their parents talk to me a lot about. Like, a parent will come up to me sometimes and say, like, you know, my kid and I had this whole discussion about it after watching the episode, and it was, you know, it was this easy sort of slide into talking about LGBTQ issues, and then a month later, my kid came out to me. You know, like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, when you think about TV, like, TV creates social change, like whether you know it or not, and something as simple as a character on a network TV show being bi is actually a really big deal.
It's a huge deal. It's an absolutely huge deal. And I just want to add to this, you know, I'm not sure your exact journey or story, and we don't even need to get into all of that, but I mean, I remember last year when I came out, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
it's such a scary experience, and so it is so important to see people on screen where you feel like, oh, like, that's me, like I'm seeing myself. It's it's a feeling you can't even describe. So
I mean,
even on behalf of me, like thank you to you.
But that's also what you're
because
doing.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
doing it. You're like actually living it, and in this kind of space, in this space in particular, nobody's been here before. You're the first like you, and that is it's a miraculous thing.
We should hug. I want to hug you. Okay, so I have a question for you. You
Okay.
obviously are responsible for so much drag culture in the mainstream. You have revolutionized. What was the world like before Drag Race?
Well, we had covered wagons. And, no, listen, I love drag. I've always loved drag. As a kid, I loved drag. And, I'm just doing my thing. And it just so happened that I did it long enough to where the world, caught up to what we were doing. But nothing happened. Nothing happened for 11 years. And then, I got a record deal with Tommy Boy Records, which back then was a hip-hop record label. And I became supermodel of the world. And,
Yes!
Oh my God, hi guys, what's up? I'm obviously gay. So, first of all, I'm in Los Angeles, I live in New York. I'm very excited to be here. I travel a lot. I was in Montreal recently, which is fine, but when Americans go, they're always like, oh, it's France, it's just like going to France. It's not France. It's Cleveland and they speak French. I mean, everyone there is like, bonjour. I'm like, we're at an Applebee's. This is... I am watching more TV than I usually would because I'm always on the road, and I have become obsessed with this show called Ghost Adventures. Has anyone seen this show before? Okay, 2 people. All right, guys. They are going on their 19th season. They haven't found a single ghost yet. The entire show is just grown men walking into abandoned buildings going, what's that? That's the show. I mean, it's ridiculous. First of all, it's hosted by this complete piece of his name is Zach. And Zach says every single day, he's like, my name is Zach, I'm a demonologist. Okay, first of all, my parents were disappointed when I told them I was gay. I can't imagine sitting them down and being like, Mom, Dad, I'm going into demonology. They'd be like, we'd rather you suck At least it's there. But I love the show because they have technology that they just don't explain. Like, they have a machine that texts ghosts. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, wouldn't the world know about this technology? Like, this cannot be technology exclusive to the Travel Channel. And also, if we had this technology, we'd be using it for everything. We'd be at weddings like, we'll see what Nana thinks of your dress.
You came out pretty late in life, right?
I was 25. Yeah.
That means you started dating for the first time kind of
late.
later in life. So what was that experience
Yeah,
like?
because, most people, they dabble in dating. When you're in high school, you're sort of making all those awkward choices early on in your life. And when you're in your late 20s being awkward, it's not as cute. And so I would go on dates, and I swear to you, I could not stop saying the word gay date.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I was on a date, and I was just like, sitting like this, a very normal, relaxed pose. And I was like, you go on these gay dates very often? Do you think other people know that we're on a gay date? And they're like, stop saying gay date. And I'm like, well, we're on one. And I just it was very weird.
No, I love, there's so many things that can be weird, even not related. I remember if I ever went on a date with a girl, sometimes people would be like, oh my God, are you sisters? And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I get that now, yeah, where it's like.
Would you get it with your fiance because you are happily engaged now?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sorry, fellas, I'm taken. Yeah, we get it, in Ubers, where the guy will be like, so where are you sisters going? And we're like, I don't know, Mom just wants us home by midnight.
Congrats on your new memoir. I want to show it real quick. It is called High School. You got to tell me everything. It's so incredible, such an original read. Why did you choose to write this book?
So the book is about Tegan and Sarah in high school. It's about our origin story, how we started the band, how we learned to be songwriters.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I talked about us in the third person.
Yep.
So that people just remember that we're the Tegan and
I
Sarah.
see,
That's all.
I see.
But in the book we write. Thank you, the one person. The one person was like, yes, I get that. We write about the early sort of like start of our music career, but we also write about like discovering and figuring out that we were both gay. We write about
Taking a lot of acid.
Yeah. Are you allowed to talk about that on?
Yeah,
the
you
show?
do
Oh,
you.
can?
Listen, whoever you are, is who
Okay.
I want you to talk
Okay.
about. We're all real people here. We want to tell real stories out here. So please, whoever you are.
Okay, so in the book, we do talk about our adolescent experience with LSD, which was very popular in 1995, 1996, and 1997. And I think in a way, the book allowed us to sort of dispel some of these ideas that Tegan, we're very nice Canadians. You're a Canadian, you know that Canadians all want to be really nice.
That's Canada.
We're so sorry for being here, but you know, but we also wanted to talk about like the realness of high school, and for us, sort of dealing with our queer identity and sort of like our body issues, and like so much respect for your opening monologue, because like the popping shirt boob thing is like that's like I've been living with this since I was like 11 years old, and I just feel like we had all of this stuff going on, and drugs was a way for us to escape. So we write about that in the book as well.
That's so raw and deep and
Yeah.
real, and I applaud you for that, because it's not an easy thing to do. More congratulations are in order, because you are on the 5th season of Superstore. Congratulations, yeah? And you're hilarious on the show. But I heard that your character, Mateo, was actually written very differently
Yes.
than how you portray the character. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be a straight Latino guy. I think they saw that my last name was Santos, and they're just like, okay, let him read the part. But yeah, I auditioned for it, and once I sort of put my own spin to the role, they changed the role to make it a gay Filipino. So thank God.
I mean, that is what you call making moves, and they literally changed the part for you because you're so good.
I'm just thankful I have a job. Yeah.
I want your life, I think.
I've had a life.
I know. Congrats on your life.